Welcome to the Trio Blood Podcast. I am your host, Christian Dior Creasy.
I am Lionel Chapman.
Ira Childs.
And today on our new season, season two, on our first episode, we have a great guest coming from all the way from California that we met at the Days of the Dead horror film, horror con, sorry, and we saw her great film Shady Grove. Here to discuss Shady Grove in her life as an artist, Nikki McElroy. How are you, Nikki?
Hello, hello. So happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you
All
for
right.
having us. Well, thank you for having. We thank you for being on our show.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for having me. Yeah.
All the above, you know.
Yes, yes.
It was great meeting you at the Days of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
I saw you three and I was like, who are they? And then you guys had your t-shirts on. So
Right, right. And we saw your film. Your film was great.
Yes,
Thank
it
you
was.
for inviting us to watch it.
I appreciate you guys coming down to that part of the film festival. It was awkward, to get down to where the movies actually were. But, I'm glad you guys took the time to get there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And we had and we enjoyed the film. It was really, really good. A lot of things that we didn't expect too. It was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
Really enjoyed Shayna's character.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
Thank
yes.
So, Nikki, can you tell the audience about your character in this film?
Well, I play Shayna. Shayna is a loving, even though she shows it in her own ways, strong, independent woman. She finds out that she's pregnant, and so we watch her deal with that idea of becoming a mother, which she would call so young, as well as, basically figuring out what her plan of how she's going to handle it, while now handling all of the horrors that then begin to happen to her.
All right. All right. All right. All right. So, what inspired you to create Shady Grove?
Well, Shady Grove came from Nathan Dalton is my co-writer with me on this. We've been writing together for a little over 10 years. I would think I've been saying 10 years for like the last 3 years. So it's
Right.
probably been around 13 years. um, uh, Nate, background on his family is they were research botanists. So he was in the woods a lot. And so we have other horror films in our repertoire in our little bag of tricks here, which is my computer I'm talking into. Um, and so he said, I've always wanted to write something in the woods. So we went through all of the possibilities that could be the woods. And we saw, of course, watched every movie that was in the woods, a lot of cabin based. And we are trying to, go away from what that is. And we're like, who are the bad people? Who are the typical bad people of the woods?
Right.
First started out very fantastical with fairies and that sort of thing. And then we decided we wanted to place it in reality. So that all came from Greek mythology. Um, we found the Thesmophilia festival with Demeter, Persephone, and all of them, and how, basically women were in charge of fertility of the crops as well as their bodies. If things weren't growing, the men would shun them, would beat them, would cast them away. And so it made us think, what if that was put here today in this type of this
Right.
world of women now? And someone like the character of Shayna, or women that would be strong like Shayna, what if that would they be okay with that, or would they say, man, forget these men, we could just do this on our own?
Yeah.
You're right.
And then that brings you Shady Grove.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what I love about when you said strong women is that in the film it was a woman who was saving the day. Normally in horror films or in any other like action film, it will be the woman is the damsel in distress that she needs to be saving by a strong man. But as this one, it was
She's
strong
saving
women.
her man. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
strong
saving her
woman.
man left and
Okay.
right.
Right, saving him, and being the hero of the day. And so I like that. It's not, and today's, film industry, it's not that many leads like that. Even
Mhm.
today, that a woman, can save a man. I mean, I don't have no problem with it.
I know
It
I've
doesn't make
noticed in the last couple years we've been seeing more of that, and I'm very happy with it. Even in this 2022 Halloween season, we saw two movies, Barbarian as well as Run Sweetheart Run, that came out during the same time as ours. I'm like, oh, we are all on this same bandwagon here.
yeah, It was, you was gonna say something?
I guess we could also throw in Terrifier 2 too, because she
Yeah.
also, yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so I need to check that out.
Oh, I won't say anything.
So would Nikki would have did would in the film would Nikki did anything different that Shayna did and the decisions that she made?
As being not just the actress playing Shayna and being the co-writer, yes, Shayna did a lot of things that Nikki would have done.
Nice.
It was written to that. Even down to driving the Jeep. I drive a Jeep. I go off-roading often in my Jeep. Shayna is very Nikki-esque.
Okay.
Nice. Nice.
Okay. So when did your love for the horror genre begin?
Um, I would say I think I was about 6 when I saw my first horror film. I remember my mom just saying it might be too scary, and I was like, okay, I still want to watch it. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And still till this day, I still have parts of this movie that resonate in my head when I'm in certain situations. So maybe I wasn't fine. It's The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. Um,
Nice.
just how it
Classic.
opens, it's like we've written a couple other things, and I notice I pull a lot from what I've seen from that time, and some of the shots that he's done are ones that really resonate with me and stick with me. But the scene I'm talking about is when the little girl is running and the bird's sitting on her shoulder and pecking her in her head. Like I'm
Oh,
always like
yeah.
that one that piece plays over and over in my head. Then after that, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street. There was something, the Jasons, the Michaels never really scared me. Yes, the jump scares would scare me, but them as themselves did not scare me. Big white men in masks don't scare me. Um,
Nice.
um, but I think we've been trained to have that, no, but Nightmare on Elm Street scared me because that has to do with going to sleep
Yeah.
and
I
person getting you in your sleep. So we used to have little slumber parties just to see how long we could stay awake and if we would survive and who would be the first to die. Like, really?
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I have to say Nightmare on Elm Street was that for me too because it was very groundbreaking when it came out and what Wes Craven did was totally like left field. Nobody wasn't expecting it. And it's true. It's like Freddy is terrifying. Like the has to be the most terrifying because we all have to go to sleep.
We all have to go to sleep. And to this
No
day,
one's
like
safe.
as we're coming up with other ideas, I'm going back and watching a lot of these movies over again, all the Halloweens, all the I just brain farted. Just all of them. I've been going back and watching all of the series of everything. And the one I cannot do is Nightmare on Elm Street. I put it up and I get to the cover and I go, not today. I'm just not going to do it yet. Like, cause I just don't want to re-torment myself.
I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street for me is the film that helped me when I actually got to meet Heather Langenkamp. How her character helped me stand up to bullies. How
Okay.
she, Nancy, in that film stood up to Freddie
Hmm.
and faced, and also taught me how to face my fears. And that's what she did. She looked into his eyes, talking about, I take all my power back that I gave to you, all the fear that I gave to you that makes you stronger. I take it back now. I'm not afraid of you. That's what she said. You nothing. You're shit. And turn his back, which was there. I was like, oh my god, he's about to gut her back out, and all of a sudden disappear. But it helped me, and I
I like
stand up to
hearing that.
bullies.
I've never heard someone say that one of these really helped them personally in standing up to bullies. I like that story. I love that.
Yeah, and when I told her that, I met her back at the Flash weekend in August here in
Hmm.
Chicago, and I told her that. So I can tell she was really touched by that too because that's coming from watching our documentary. That's what she wanted, that this character to and help and influence people in a good way. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I
So,
like that.
So how many days did it take to film this project?
We did 18 days in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York, Glen Spey. 18 full days. And when I say
18.
full, full days. We're talking about almost by the time we would get back to the hotel, it'd be nearly 18 hours, and then just get up and do it again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, that was a grind.
Yeah.
Big ups. That was a grind. I mean, and it paid off when we saw the film. It's like you can tell y'all put y'all whole
Oh man, we put
Everything into it. Yeah.
some of the behind the scenes stories. There's so many, like everyone sees the final part of the film, but they don't realize what people went through. A poor deer got hit in this journey.
yeah.
Um, there's so many different stories, even from us when we came down, went out there for the scout. It was happened to be that night that the worst storm, I guess, in New York history or something, where the subways were all flooded.
Hmm.
Oh
It was
yeah, yeah.
that night we
Remember
flew
that.
in from Los Angeles to New York to drive all the way upstate New York. We thought we were going to die. Like it was like God was dumping buckets of water onto the car, and like as the windshield wipers just weren't working. And we it if you've been to upstate New York, it's just black. It was like there's no lights on the streets. We don't know where we're going because our phones stopped working.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
we start driving around just looking for service, and we finally get in touch with the homeowner. He gives us the written directions and like exactly how many minutes to probably drive before we might see the sign. And he said he'll be standing outside in 20 minutes with a flashlight. Oh, it was a horror. It could have been a total horror story within itself. And the way
Yeah.
that the water was gushing off the mountains to our right into the river, it was just waterfalls, and we go through deep puddles, but thank goodness we were in a lifted Jeep. If we were in a
Wow.
smaller car, I don't even know if we'd be alive right now to tell you the story, to be honest.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Because I was gonna ask you what was the craziest things that happened on set while filming. Wow.
Yeah, that was one. There's so many different ones. We found out that where we shot in the mine, Sterling Hills mine. We found out, of course, it's a mine, so lots of people died in there, but we also found out it's haunted. So you'd find yourself walking by yourself, going to craft services or something, and you get a chill. And then I notice I'll just start running. I'm just like, I'm not playing out here.
No.
Yeah,
I would have ran.
just like,
I
get
would have
me to
ran
Ran
the
too.
too.
exit.
Man.
Uh, so can we look forward to seeing part two, the Shady Grove?
We definitely plan for Shady Grove to be a franchise. Nate and I know we're going for the next four, so we wanted to be a set of five. So we know we're going for the next four of them. So we just come on,
Nice.
people, let's make this one a hit, so we can get the money for the next one and keep playing with this because it's gonna be fun.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. And speaking of, how did you, if you don't mind me asking, obtain the funding? Because I know, like, what Bob Shea with Nightmare on Elm Street, he said it was hell for him to attain. He said to a point he was biting his nail, blood coming out.
Coming
It's
out.
so hard to find money for films, especially if you've never done one before. It's hard for people; they don't trust you. That they don't know if they'll get an end product because it's hard to even make a movie. It's hard to get through. A lot of movies are made that are just sitting in people's drawers right now because they couldn't find the money for post production. It's
Yeah.
filmed, but they just can't get through this next part. There's so many parts that people don't, put
Yep.
into thought. Long story short, with how I got the money, it was pure faith, pure luck. It was someone believing in me, an angel investor, and giving me the money to do this. We make this a hit. He wants to do more, but we need to make sure that this one looks good. But we had another financer that wanted to come in previous to him, but then COVID hit. But we were supposed to be in production for this probably the year and a half before, but COVID
Mhm.
hit, and he lost a lot of money in a lot of his other ventures, so he pulled out.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was like, we wrote this about, five, maybe a little more years ago. So you get into this, all right, is this going to happen? And constantly going out to pitching to people, constantly talking about it. It just gets kind of, huh. And
Yeah.
but when that came through, which like I said, it was a miracle when that came through. And we jumped right in. We jumped right into pre-production.
Nice.
Nice. Well, and this is why I tell people out there in the audience who's watching, who wants to be an artist or who likes to brutally, for no reason, criticize films. This is why I personally, even though if you can say the movies suck or whatever, it's like, at least I'm like, at least they made one. because you don't know what people go through, what you go through. Like you said, 18 hours a day for 18 days shooting to make
And
to
we wish we had the money
entertain.
to do a few more days because there's some other scenes that we weren't just didn't have the money to get. So
See, yeah,
Man.
and this is why I even like don't really like criticizing movies anymore. Even I mean, one gentleman told me after I come out of the theater, we all saw the sequel to Ghost Rider. I was like, well, he said, well, they made this for our entertainment. I was entertained. He was like, look at it that way instead of saying it sucked and all that. He like they, I was like, you know what?
that's the same as me. Yeah, when I watch films, just know for a long time, even as an act from acting side, I like to watch it to I like to try to see what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
I look at it that like, oh, I see. I bet you, and I go, I bet you this is the problem they ran into right here because that would have been hard to get. I can think exactly of what they're trying to do and appreciate that. The one thing that gets me though, because our movie was done for super low budget, well below $1 million. So I am very happy with what we did for lower than $500,000 for what we were able to do. And
yeah,
I'm like, if only I could get 7 million, 20 million, like these other people, oh, what we could have made, you know?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah.
you know, and what I love about it is that I can tell like everybody was like has a creative gift on that set too.
Everyone wore multiple hats.
See,
Everybody wore multiple hats. We had to.
and
While I'm getting makeup done, I'm writing people's checks. I'm sending money off for pickups. I'm helping make phone calls, getting the insurance letters so we can go rent more props. And because we were in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours from anything from the big city, something breaks, we're now set behind because
Okay.
we've got to send a car 2 hours there to do whatever they need and then 2 hours back. We've lost now a half a day. It's in this whole thing you learn.
Yeah. As you go.
It
I
makes
know I know it's going to be a long time probably before I film in the middle of nowhere again.
it makes you really appreciate the final product.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
I like, or if I have to film in the middle of nowhere, there needs to be enough money to basically have everything that you may even possibly need out there with you.
yeah,
Thinking in advance, backups of bulbs, backups of this, anything that could possibly break, like just have doubles. And if you can afford that, that's even better.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what would be your favorite, excuse me, kill in Shady Grove? I know for me, I will not spoiling it for anyone. It would be when the victim got in the bedroom.
It's like
Gory,
That's the first. Because I feel like that is the first one where a man is murdered while right when he finished. It's a great happy ending.
So,
And so that's what our actor Jahan said. He's like, "Well, if I die, at least I died happy."
right.
Right.
Not to
I'm
give
like,
that was a spoiler, but
yeah, I don't try to get the spoilers, but it's like, well, he got off, then he was off.
yeah, that was it. And and that's part of the woman's ritual. They need to like, as in the next one, you see that she wanted to kill him. So it's
right.
like that's part of their ritual. They need to die in that moment at that finish.
Mhm.
And you know what I want there's many reasons why I love this film, and also one of the reasons that I love the film because you mentioned earlier about filming in the middle of nowhere. It kind of reminds me of Wes Craven's not Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, yeah. We got a
Because
lot of comparisons to that one.
and
And
it's yeah, it is a universal fear for everybody because it is the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows
The
you.
Appalachian Mountains too. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And you can scream all you want. Nobody's going to hear you
Not
besides
at
the
all.
animals or predators. I'm like, well, who is that screaming? Let me go check that out. This could be dinner. And you never know. It's like our very first episode, what makes a horror film
Mhm.
good is that one of the reasons is that is it can any it can happen anywhere and what or the fear of the unexpected. When you're out of
Yep.
no in the middle of nowhere, what you out like I don't know what the hell is gonna happen.
Yep. And even scarier out there. Well, because it's just dark at night. It's just black,
Yep.
black. And there's lots of curves around the Appalachian Mountains and stuff, lots of twists and turns. I told you someone hit a deer on their way in one day.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he's in a huge Bronco, so
Mhm.
he wasn't hurt, but the car was damaged. Um, it's just hearing the stories because it's not the most diverse out there if you've never been. And
Right.
we came out with a completely diverse crew. I liked hearing one of my crew, one of my PAs, is like, I've never seen a crew look like this. Like, this is so diverse. We had so many women, women of color. We're mostly Hispanic and Black cast and crew,
Uh-huh.
other than our lead females, of course. But everybody
Right.
else was pretty much, our director's white, our DP Jason was white, and almost everybody else was Latino or Black. And
I love
so
that.
we're up here in this
I love it.
town, and we go out to eat, and people were kind of like Nate's white as well. And so one guy we were filling up a restaurant, and Nate almost got into one of the racist guys at the bar. I was like, not here. Because he's the last one. Nate had the Black sister too, and he's been, he's my family. So he's just like,
Right.
what'd you say? Like, I was like, not here. We're not gonna fight. Like, we're in these people's town, and we need to finish this movie.
Yeah.
Right. Last thing you know, we don't need to be going to jail.
Yeah, and why we're there, my makeup artist, Efron, he's sitting there, he's like, Nikki, I knew I heard of this town before and I didn't realize. So I asked my mom, his cousin was murdered in that town
Oh,
probably 20 years ago, racist something. He was dating a white girl from the town, went out there and I guess got into like some sort of brawl at the bar because someone was saying something and they killed him and he was missing for a while. And this was about 20 years ago. There in that town. So I was like, oh my Lord, like here we go,
nice.
action, you know.
Wow. That can be also a film on its own.
Yes.
There was so much up there that could have been a film on its own. From I really did like, as racist as he was, I liked the guy because I mean he gave us our cow, and
Yeah.
and he's just like, I don't know, Miss Nikki. Still call me Miss Nikki. I don't know, Miss Nikki. As the older I get, the more prejudice I get. I was like, at least you're honest, and there's nothing nice I could say. And I sat there, and I like asking people like that questions, you know. So we
Right.
sat and talked for a while. He's like, I know I'm not as smart as you, and I'm not, well, because he dropped out early high school. He just runs the farm. He has like one tooth. So it's just like, we was just sitting there talking to him, and I was like, oh. So sometimes I hope we cross barriers in those moments, because then he complimented me. My first AD is a Black woman as well, and so we were out at his house, and he's like, "This is the first time I've ever had two beautiful women on my property." I'm like, "Oh, are we changing things?"
Yeah.
See, you never know.
You got
Just
you got through. You
yeah.
got through.
You
Yeah.
already changed them.
Yeah.
Huh?
You probably not racist or prejudiced no more. It's just, all it
Well, I
takes
think he
is
sits
one
home
person.
watching TV a lot, and making up these minds and not really meeting us in person. And
Yeah.
so I asked him, I asked him like general questions because everyone has dreams in life, right? No matter what you believe in. So I just asked him what his dreams were, and he actually had big dreams for what he wanted. I'm like, well, why don't you do it? And he's like, you're right, maybe I should, because he wanted a dairy farm. And
Okay.
so I'm like, what are these? Like, it costs a lot of money. I'm like, but you have all these cows, you already have so much. Why don't you really he's like, you're right, you're right. So it's just like those moments where you find out what people really want in life and then take out that
Yep.
thought that it's the other people that are taking away your dream from you, because that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
because he's like, they're coming taking our jobs. I'm like, no.
No. It's like you realize, like, no, it was just
It's just
my
you
little.
that's not doing it.
Yeah, just you realize you look in the mirror. It's like, no, it's me holding me back.
Correct.
It's
And then
me.
those are conversations I just love to have with people. And so
Yeah.
that's what I think something good about that time in that small town is, like, we were there for, 18 days. And for us, I got there a little early. We filmed for 18 days. So we were there a little early. So we were there for nearly a month. So
Nice.
getting to know some of these people, and we
Yeah.
became friends with some of the people too. Like, one woman was our savior. She came in as our set nurse, and
Okay.
she knew everybody in town. They all went. She grew up there, so everything we needed, like anything that broke or anything kind of went wrong, she's like, "Let me call Jim." Like,
Nice.
or when at one point the Jeep got stuck in a puddle of mud, up to the side, and this is our main Jeep. The director tried to take the actor further up into the hill. I don't know if you remember when he's running in the middle of this green pathway
Yeah.
before he's shot by the arrow. So the director was trying to drive him closer up there so he didn't have to walk because it was raining the night before and it was muddy. He hit this puddle. The Jeep is halfway down in the mud. So we needed a tow truck and we needed a cleaner, someone to clean it because we had to shoot in this Jeep again.
Yeah.
So our Doreen came through, saved the day, got the Jeep out, got the cleaner to come clean it. It was, but it's all those extra costs too, and things go into filmmaking.
Yeah.
So are you currently working on anything or anything in the works?
Well, the one that I want to do next is called Tall.
Okay.
I want to film it back home in Kentucky, is where I'm originally from. So that's the one I'm currently working on funding at the moment. I will direct that one myself.
Nice.
Awesome.
And then yeah, and then the year after, if I'm able to get Tall done this year,
Mhm.
I would like to start Shady Grove 2 the following year.
Okay.
Nice.
And where can people, if they want to watch your movie, what can they find it?
You can find it anywhere, all the cable VOD, so like Spectrum, Cox, Verizon, the library. You could also find it on iTunes or Apple TV, Amazon, across the board.
Nice.
Awesome. Yes. And please go out and buy it. Is right? They can
It's
like
purchase or rent.
Purchase or
But you're
rent.
gonna want to watch it again because when Shady Grove 2 comes out, you're gonna want to go back. So why rent it twice? Just
Yeah,
go
go
ahead
on
and
and
buy
buy
it
it.
now, so
Yeah,
that you can
go
All
on
then
and
by
buy
the
right.
it.
3, 4, and 5 come, then you could sit back and just binge watch them all before the next one. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
And watch
there
it
you
with your
go.
family. Go out and support all the artists. We need that support. Speaking from one artist to another, go out and support. I'm gonna buy myself an early Christmas gift, and I'm gonna buy Shady Grove. Probably
It's
gonna
available
go
on
do that.
DVD now too.
Oh, sweet.
Where can I get the DVD from?
Amazon.
I got an Amazon account. Yeah,
Hey.
baby.
Nice, nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And if people want to keep up with you, what can they find you
You
or
can find me
Social
across
media.
on all the platforms at Nikki Go Lightly, Nikigo Lightly, like play on Holly Go Lightly from Breakfast at Tiffany's. Um,
Nice.
you get a lot of people think I live a similar life to how Holly lived, where things just kind of happen, kind of like how I got the money for this movie.
Nice.
And
cool?
yeah, so you can find me there, and that's it right now.
Okay. And you can always find us at our Instagram, trio_3_horror. You can find us on Facebook, Trio Blood Podcast, or you can go on our YouTube. We are also on YouTube at Trio of Horror. Yes, I want to say it again. Hallelujah. And also, we are also on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. You can also check us out on our episodes there. And Nikki, we want to say thank you again
Yes,
for coming on the
it's
show.
a pleasure.
It was a pleasure
Thank you
Meet
so much
you
for
at the
having
days
me.
of the
So
dead.
glad I met y'all.
Yes, we're so glad we connected, and let's make it happen again. Let's work with each other. Let's make something happen and
Definitely.
create.
Absolutely.
It's all about networking.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One more thing.
Yes.
Where can we find the apparel?
Apparel.
So I sent out, and I just had one made where you saw me. I had only one made.
Hmm.
I should probably make some more and
Yeah.
have them available.
Yes. Please let us know. We'll
Yes.
definitely purchase.
Yeah.
Because you look at the back. Can you see the back?
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
That is
Dope.
It
So
has the
That's
poster.
the cover of the film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
okay. Here's my request. I want to buy two, and when I buy one of them, can you autograph it for me?
There we go. Yes.
Oh, can you awesome. Yes, 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 yes. All right, all right. Cool, cool. Well, thank you once again. And Nikki, feel free. You are welcome on the show anytime.
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 You
Anytime.
guys.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy your day. And this is the Trio Blood Podcast. We are signing off.